gente, tudo bom com vocês? Eu sou a Alice e esse é o Ali&Aqui e hoje eu trago pra vocês uma das coisas mais legais que eu já fiz, que foi entrevistar todo o elenco de The Wilds. Conversei tanto com as meninas quanto com os meninos e o nosso papo foi muito legal. Então hoje vocês vão ver um pouquinho dessas entrevistas, de tudo legal que rolou e obviamente a gente falou muito da segunda temporada e logo menos também tem vídeo aqui no canal falando da segunda temporada. Então aproveitem, se inscrevam aqui no canal e aproveitem as entrevistas que realmente foi muito incrível.
Hi girls, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
First of all, I just wanted to congratulate you on the second season. It was amazing, and I confess that I kind of cried in some of your scenes. So let's just keep that between us. Okay, it's a secret. Don't tell anyone, please. But so my first question is actually about the importance of having you both as a couple on the show, because I mean the show is pretty great, but I know that you saw the love that Shoni gets. So how it was for you to portray such an important thing on television?
It's so important, you know, I mean, this is an art form and art is a representation of life and should reflect the world that we live in. And so it's unfortunate that that isn't always seen, same-sex couples and queer couples in general, and just queer people, you know, so it's definitely something that I feel really honored to be a part of. Shoni means a lot to me. I really, truly feel very connected to these characters, to this relationship. So it's been such an honor to kind of try and give these characters justice, and to make sure that people who are watching from home can feel like they're not alone. Because that's the one thing that I just hope that people can take away from this show, whether it be after season 1 or 2 or whatever, is if they feel like they are not alone by something that we've created, that just gives me such, like, I can sleep at night.
It is just an honor, as Mia said, and just allowing people to feel seen and heard by the stories that we tell and the stories that we feel so connected to and so passionate about telling. Yeah, it means a lot. We couldn't see them. We could hear them.
The boys with perfect control group. We're not alone here.
How are you doing, guys?
Good.
I'm pretty good, yeah.
How you doing?
Good. I'm good. It's very nice to meet you. I'm very excited to talk about this season because I really loved the show and I really loved your characters. You always made me laugh, like, all the time. It was great. Okay, so my first question is about friendship, because I think it's what both of your characters bring to the show so much. So how it was for you to build that between the two of you and to bring that into your characters?
I think it was pretty easy for us at first. When I got to the airport, he was the first cast member that I met before I got on the plane. And that was a little message to me of like, I think we're gonna be good. I think this is gonna be good. And we also hung out a bunch to really get that sort of friendship.
Yeah, it's actually really funny because when we were at the airport, you have a good friend when you go through something crazy, you know what I mean? And when we got there, they almost didn't let us on the plane. Like it was just me and Tanner, a full plane of people going all the way around the world. And me and Tanner were the only ones they didn't let. They sent us off of the airport premises and back on, you know? And so it was just crazy, but we were both like, you my bro though, like we gonna
yeah.
It's good because you already bonded on the first day.
Yeah.
Your characters were like a big surprise for me on the show because I started liking one of you and then I started disliking him and just liking the other. Like it was very, very confusing for me.
I think that's the appropriate feelings of that. I think that's
I think so. But I was kind of mad, you know? I was kind of angry, you know?
Why were you mad? Why were you angry?
Because I felt like I was played out by you, you know? I was deceived by you. Especially by Charles.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was genuine from the start.
Yeah, but I was gonna...
I laid it all out on the table for you. If you got schooled, that's not my fault.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But you ended up being one of my favorite characters of the season, so I guess we're fine.
Yeah.
Hi, Elise. Where are you in the world?
I'm from Brazil.
And you're in Brazil now?
Yeah, I am in Brazil now. It's like almost 6 p.m. here.
I'm in Australia at 6:30 a.m. So we must be literally around the
across
other
the
side
world. Yeah. The first thing I wanted to know is that we have like Gretchen, like a character with kind of a weird moral compass. I mean, we can see where she's coming from, but she does some things that are kind of not that nice. So how it was for you to like get to the point where this character can be so ambivalent, you know?
Look, I think, at least we live in times where there's quite a lot of people in public life who I would say have a very skewed moral compass. And strangely, quite a lot of them are moralizing at the same time. You know what I mean? They're, behaving as if there's some kind of righteous path, that their ideology is innately righteous. So I think it's really interesting playing that suspect adult in a show of young people, because I think I really am trying to deconstruct that question of is this adult a reliable describer of the world, and if I get to the point of recognizing that her behavior and moral compass is like right off, what are we going to do about it?
You ever feel like you were up against something relentless?
I just wanted to say that I really loved season 2. I was up until like 3 a.m. watching, and I was obsessed. So congratulations for another great season. My first question is actually about the changes that we see on the girls on the second season, because I know that there isn't a lot of time jump from one season to the other, but I feel that there are greater changes happening to them.
I feel like Fatin comes to terms with her situation really fast, and probably has something to do with the fact that she's so unashamed of who she is already. But her transformation from this sex-crazed party girl who loves all things vanity, which is so seemingly selfish, to being this like selfless, motherly, like caretaker person, it's and like to not see that even happen. It's just all of a sudden she's like that. Just her general acceptance of the island and what she's going through. I feel like if it was me in that situation, I would have so much more mentally to process through. But Fatin's like very accepting. It's cool.
Dot kind of learns throughout this season just like the simple pleasures in life of being able to sit down and read a book, which is something that season 1 she despises reading. I think she's finally kind of learning what she likes, and she's supported in that, and she's able to take the time to kind of figure herself out and take a minute and breathe, which is something that she hasn't done in a long time. It's just be able to sit down and breathe. And I think what's amazing about this season is the support of the other girls, how they rally around Dot and how they really care for her, especially Sophia taking on more of a motherly role. It's just like amazing to see that dynamic kind of like flow through this season.
I think in terms of changes with my character, I would say she grew a spine, if you will. It's very contrasting to see that you have like this character had to be like in the wilderness in a life or death situation for her to do that as well. And it did make me question too, like would she still be able to do that out in the real world, or would it like still progress with her life and never be able to find like the strength to overcome her mental challenges?
The journey that you see, if I'm talking about Tony in particular, through season 1 is so, she really does transform into a different person than who we meet. And I think, again, meeting her in season 2, she's found a lot of peace and isn't letting her emotions control her as much anymore. And that's really beautiful and that's really special. And then the new challenges that arise for her and the growth that Shoni has and the lessons that they have to learn with each other is so special. And I think it's amazing now for season 2, if I could just say, having my journey guided by Shelby's journey and Mia's journey, and having that be something that we kind of ride together has been so special. Whilst obviously we have our own personal things going on, being able to navigate that all together has really beautiful.
Couldn't agree more on that one. We definitely see Shelby at her happiest that we've seen her in season 2, which was so nice to film. It's interesting, you know, Shelby, she carries around a lot of shame and guilt around who she is and tries to control everything that's happening inside her externally and internally, but she really tries to control everything. So we do see her let go of that control, but it's interesting how shame and guilt seems to follow her. But I can't stress enough how beautiful it is to see Shelby and Tony together and just giving into that. It was so, yeah, I can't wait for everyone to see it.
We wanted to be men.
This is only the beginning.
But the truth is, some of us were becoming monsters.
I was very excited when we heard that we were getting boys for the second season. We need to know your characters, so can you tell me a little about like the strength and the weakness that they bring into the island as a whole?
Raph is a pretty quiet and reserved kid. He's very much one that is probably not going to speak unless spoken to. And I would say that his weakness may be that he's a little too dependent on other people to kind of show him his self-worth. And then I think that his strong suit would definitely be that he's a great listener.
Henry's very smart. He has this past as a Boy Scout in his past life. And he's kind of completely different from that now, I would say, you know, like vibe-wise. But he becomes very resourceful while on the island and gives a lot of helpful information. But then at the same time, I think he says things at the wrong time, probably not the best time, majority of the time, which, you know, causes a lot of problems and conflicts between, you know, the boys. And yeah, it just doesn't really help much.
Yeah.
I would say Bo's strengths are also probably his weaknesses a bit. Like, he's very optimistic, he's very forthcoming, and he's quite quiet. He likes to listen, he likes to sort of watch, and he's always sticking by Scotty's side. But I think the con to that could be he's not really stretching his legs, he's not really throwing out enough ideas, and he's a bit codependent. But it's this stressful, very traumatic event, and he's going to want his friend by his side. So I think it evens out.
I think Scotty's like main strength is sort of the aspect of keeping it real, you know, but not like in a Henry sort of way where it's really dark and a little sad, you know. It's sort of just like, this is our circumstances, but we shouldn't act crazy about it, you know what I mean? And then also a strength is having like somebody like Bo on his side, you know, because I feel like Scotty never at any time on the island felt he was alone, you know, and that goes for a lot when you're in a situation like that.
Yeah, and I feel that Scott is like a character that he wants to protect Bo so much that it makes him go like too much, you know, because if it was just him, maybe he would just give up, but he has to protect Bo all the time.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of his weaknesses. Because of their past and the things that they've seen, you know, they just sort of are like, we have to look out for ourselves, you know. This is a situation that we really can't depend on anybody else. But, you know, in a situation like that, you should be able to depend on whatever there is, you know. And then if you watch it, you'll see whether he learns that or not.
Just watch it. Yeah, just watch it. Okay.
Gotta watch it and see.
She's kind of relatable too, because especially in the second season, I feel that she has like one scene that I was like, this is me, you know, where she have kind of a mental breakdown and she's like at her lowest. So what do you feel are the most relatable traits from Gretchen that we can like see and go, oh, I'm kind of like this?
God, you know, I don't really think about that so much, I guess, when I'm playing. I think essentially I'm very human. I'm not, you know, I don't think I'm a cold actor. So I think just by casting me, who can be a bit goofy and a little bit silly, and then I guess I have those meltdowns probably more often than I'd like to admit, you know, just sometimes trying to match socks in my laundry. I'm like,
yeah.
So I might do a scene that's just like suddenly you just like she's really normal. And because in that particular scene, she's not under pressure, she's not manipulating anyone, she can seem normal. But then as soon as you put her with someone and you see her wanting something from that, you're like, oh no, she's a narcissistic sociopath. I forgot for a second, but she is.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any new vibes between some of the people here? I'm sorry, but I'm done with her.
Leah realizes that her mind can run away from her at times, and is met with some harsh realities of that. And I think in season 2, she finesses that a bit more and understands, it sort of gets more power over it than it has over her, which I think is more true in season 1. Yeah, you start seeing, I think you see developments of that on the island. In other parts of the series, I think that definitely shines her growth with that ability within herself that she's beginning to grasp.
For Rachel this season, it's a lot of learning to be okay with experiencing her trauma and really acknowledging it instead of avoiding it, and getting closer to the other girls and being okay with having a helping hand, and also just like going through the journey of trauma.
Trauma is one of the things that seem to brought like Leah and Rachel together on this season. So how it was for you to work with that trauma and with each other to create this new dynamic between your characters?
I think it was pretty like easy to go into based off of like season 1, because I think in season 1 they kind of started to somewhat realize those things, like with the whole scene of being pulled out of the mud and how they both go to the extremes, and then to have something even more extreme happen at the end of season 1 for both of them. Going into season 2, even though it was different things, they both were at this extreme level of trauma that they were both experiencing. So to bring that together, it was really cool for us to come together and work on.
The intensity and the experience that they have is quite similar, and they're able to offer each other the support that no one else in the group, even though I think they're willing to, can't, and meet each other exactly where they're at in order for them to sort of make the step beyond the sort of individual spiraling that they're both experiencing. They sort of like puzzle pieces to bring each other into the next stage.
There is no question they imploded.
She's gone! It is my fault!
You both play kind of like alpha male kind of characters, and that plays a big role on the season. So how it was for you to like balance it out with each other, and I mean to you when you're building your character?
First of all, that is a huge compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alex, Kieran, obviously is a lot taller and stronger and more athletic and way more beautiful. But he's much more physical in that way. So he has so much presence. And I think the thing that Seth has, that's what you're talking about, is like the balance that honestly, like we had this discussion as well. One was intellect and wit, and the other one was like pure physical testosterone masculinity. And I mean, that for me, my favorite scenes were with Charles, because of that. It was kind of like that clashing thing, but like we brought different weapons to the scene, and it was just like that was the most fun for me to watch, but then also to do, and then also like when I got to watch it, it was like, you know, as I opened a little present, it was like, that's how it turned out. That's really cool. So, yeah.
I think Alex sort of hit the nail on the head with a lot of that stuff, but yeah, I'll just add to, you know, the dynamic between the two of us shooting. It very much felt like everyone else I could just sort of steamroll, like Kieran would. And the way it was written was he just sort of blows people away and makes decisions and acts immediately without thinking about consequence. And Seth really pulls him up with logic in a way where it kerfuffles him. And it's not until Kieran is armed with something that is so damning that he then the tables have turned, and Kieran then has logic and reason to destroy him.
And both of your characters have a very interesting relationship with Seth, and he's a very complicated character. I mean, no spoilers, but how it was for you to like develop that those feelings, because they're not easy and they're not simple.
Yeah, I mean, they're stepbrothers, you know. Seth's dad married Henry's mom, and Henry didn't take it very well. From his perspective, he started to think that he was losing his mom as her attention started to gear more towards Seth. You know, they're very different in personality. He's personable and well liked, versus with Henry, you know, he likes to keep to himself and do his own thing. So, you know, going into the retreat, Henry has this jealous mentality towards Seth and doesn't really fully trust him. And yeah, they have a really interesting relationship while on the island. I think it goes through many, you know, ups and downs.
Many ups and downs.
I would say that Roth is really kind of in search of his North Star, whether it be at home or on the island. And I think that kind of developing that relationship with Seth is the best thing for Roth. When they first meet, he is exactly what Roth needs. He's personable and excited and validating. Yeah, he really is a lifeline for Roth for sure. And I guess we just gotta stay tuned to see what that entails.
No spoilers, but do you feel that the boys are going to do better on the island than the girls did? Or do you feel that the girls are like way better than the guys?
I feel that the girls are way better than the guys.
Me too.
Yeah, I was gonna venture to say the same.
Yeah, I feel that they are more organized sometimes, and that helps a lot.
They got it down to a science, I think. I think the guys need a little bit of help in the organization department for sure.
I think they need a lot of help.
A lot of help, some might say.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like because of the situation, it's like, what is a best? You know, like we all surviving. I don't know. I feel like both the boys and the girls have their moments, and it goes for the whole situation, which is really, really, are we allowed to cuss?
I mean, if you want.
It's really effed. Me and Tanner, we're both like, the whole time we were trying to get something in the show, we were like, this sucks! And it sucks.